Hold on, sir. I just need to ask you something real quick.
Sure, officer. What seems to be the issue?
What? That she's yours. Daniel let out a slow breath. Officer, we're at a park. I didn't bring documentation for a picnic. I didn't ask where you were, the officer shot back. I asked for proof. Sophie tugged at his sleeve. Daddy, I want to go home. He knelt down, lowering himself to her level despite the humiliation tightening around him. It's okay, Bug, he whispered gently. We will. Stand up, the officer ordered. Daniel rose slowly. Where's her mother? At work. Doing what? She's a nurse. The officer smirked. That same tone again, disbelief wrapped in assumption. You expect me to buy that? He said louder now, making sure nearby ears caught it. That this little girl is yours? Yes. Look at her. Then look at you. There it was. Not subtle anymore. Just naked bias. She's mixed, Daniel replied calmly. Her mother is white. The officer chuckled under his breath. You people always have a story ready. A woman near the swings gasped. Daniel's jaw tightened. It was the first visible crack in his composure. That's not a story, he said, voice firm now. That's my family. The officer stepped in again. Turn around. Daniel blinked. For what? Suspicion of child abduction. The words exploded across the park like a bomb. Conversations stopped mid-sentence. Children slowed. Phones lifted higher. Sophie wrapped herself around Daniel's leg. She's my daddy, she cried. Stop. The officer ignored her completely. Turn around. He repeated, gripping Daniel's arm, rougher than necessary. Daniel stiffened. I'm not resisting. I didn't say you were, the officer replied, twisting his arm slightly anyway. Not procedure. Control. Where did you take her from? He demanded again. I didn't take her from anywhere. School? A store? Off the street? From our house. Daniel shot back. The officer scoffed. Convenient. Sophie was sobbing now, real tears streaking her cheeks as she clung to him. You're hurting him, someone shouted. That's his kid, man. Stay out of police business. The officer barked without turning around. He tugged Daniel a step toward the cruiser. Save it for the station. Daniel planted his feet. You're scaring my daughter. You should have thought about that before taking her, the officer said coldly. That sentence cut deeper than anything else. Because now the officer was reaching for the cuffs again, metal catching the sunlight. Sophie screamed, Don't take my daddy. And in that moment, something inside Daniel cracked. It wasn't fear of getting arrested that cracked something inside him. It was what Sophie was seeing. He bent his head slightly toward her, softening his voice. Bug, listen to me. Hands behind your back, the officer cut in sharply. For what charge? Daniel asked, disbelief bleeding through the calm he'd worked so hard to maintain. Suspicion of kidnapping. Failure to provide proof of guardianship. Daniel stared at him. You're arresting me because my daughter doesn't look like me. The officer didn't answer. He didn't have to. The silence said everything. He grabbed Daniel's wrists, harder now. Less restraint. More force. The first cuff snapped closed. Phones zoomed in closer. Oh my God, someone whispered nearby. Sophie's scream tore through the park. That's my daddy. He didn't do nothing. The officer ignored her. Ignored the witnesses. Ignored the matching last names. Ignored the ID already in his hand. Because in his mind, visual contrast outweighed documentation. The second cuff locked. Daniel stood restrained in the middle of a public park, accused, humiliated, in front of his child. And the body cam captured all of it. The accusations. The tone. The force. The sound of a little girl begging. But it didn't stop there. Possibly